All right. All right. Yes, I am. Thanks a lot, Queen. I appreciate that. Thank you for... sorry, I had everyone muted out. Can you hear me now? Okay, fantastic. All right, fantastic. Yes, I have. We are, and let me just make sure. Yes, we are recording. We are recording. Okay. Well, good evening. For some of you, it may be good morning in your part of the world. It's always our pleasure, our honor to be able to host this webinar, and we don't take it lightly that so many of you take time out of your busy schedule to come on these live webinars, particularly those of you where, it is, you're coming in from Pakistan, I think I heard, or you're coming in from some other part of the world, and it may be the next morning, very early morning, your time. Really quick, and then I'll give you an update on my wife. If you are not yet subscribed, or not yet a member, I should say, of THWGlobal, and someone invited you to tonight's webinar, we typically have a presentation part of our webinar, but our system is about to move out of what's called a soft launch into a pre-launch tomorrow. That's the game plan. Now, there might be some tech issues. Those things do come up. If everything goes according to plan, we'll move out of soft launch into more like a pre-launch where people will actually get paid to do things you're already doing right now. What are you doing? You are shopping online, you're watching videos online, you are searching through search engines. Well, how would you like to get paid for that? And that's what THWGlobal is all about. And so if you were here to hear that message, because we are about to go and transition from a soft launch to a pre-launch, I want to make sure that our existing audience, that we're all on the same page, we know what we need to be doing, both now and then going forward. So here's what I'm going to do. For those of you who are here for the first time, you've not yet joined THWGlobal, or you recently joined, but you don't really know what the heck is going on, okay? I'm going to post a link in the chat box. You're going to see this over to your right-hand side. And this is going to be the link for our new folks to go and get a presentation. All right, so that way you don't miss out on the messaging. I've posted it right here on my whiteboard, and I've also posted it in the chat. Okay. Now, I'm going to strongly suggest, if you have not joined THWGlobal, or you've recently joined but you really don't know what it's all about, I'm going to suggest that you go on and click on that link, mute me out on the webinar, click on that link and watch that webinar replay so that you get a really good sense of what THWGlobal is all about and why you definitely want to participate. Okay. All right. Now, with that being said, let me give you a quick update on my wife. Thank you for asking for that. And then we will go to work because we've got a lot of content to cover. We anticipate we'll have a Q&A as well. Okay. My wife, as many of you know, she had surgery actually a week ago today, and she is doing very, very well from the surgery. The surgery went very well. The surgeon was very pleased. She is still in the hospital, and she started rehab this week. She's got a week or so worth of rehab. So sometime next week, maybe next Tuesday, maybe next Wednesday, we expect her to come home. She's in great spirits. And of course, I'm juggling a lot in terms of business and being dad here at home with our 3 children and going back and forth to the hospital because I miss my schnook. All right, I miss my schnook. But in any event, she's doing exceptionally well, very well, and on her way to recovery. So thank you for all of your thoughts. Thank you for all of your prayers. We really, really appreciate it. Okay. All right. So now let's go to work. There is a website that you want to make sure that you go to. I would say go here a couple of times a day, THWleadership.com. Now, this is not my site. I have nothing to do with this site. This is not even a THWGlobal corporate site. This is the gentleman that seems to be making most of the posts. His name is Poppy Julio. I hope I said that right. and many of you have seen him on YouTube or what have you. He apparently he was one of the first people that got this message about THW Global, and he and his team, they've worked around the clock. They've worked very, very hard to help build THW Global, and I'm assuming that he has some contacts with corporate or what have you, because he does seem to get information that he then disseminates. And so this is a great place to go. Now, I will tell you that when you go here, it is going to be cluttered. It's going to be quite a bit of information. And so what I will attempt to do with our audience is to comb through, pull out the most important information like we did a few hours ago, and then send that to you. Sometimes we'll do it with a video. Sometimes we'll just send the information. So let me just go over what we sent out a few hours ago. Maybe you got a chance to get to it. Some of you, because of your work schedules, it came, but you didn't get a chance to go through it. So let's cover this on this webinar, because I think some very, very important information, okay? All right, so I'm taking this information right from THW leadership. I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit so it wasn't so cluttered. It was a little bit easier for you to get the information. All right, so they say this is a must read for all IVs, what to expect in our first 6 months, currently writing it now. This was not me writing it. This is Papi Julio, okay? All right, they go on to say THW Global. Now, I think this is huge. THW Global has decided to make the pay system seamless. This means that people in Vietnam, Russia, Philippines, US, and all other countries will be paid on the same pay schedule. Now, why is this so huge? Okay. From the time that we first started sharing THW Global, as it came across our desk, I believe it was on June 16th, there was always the messaging that, hey, we could earn up to a certain amount per hour, up to $25 an hour for our own personal viewing. But that up to $25 an hour was going to mean different things in different parts of the world. Basically, what the target is to get people to where they were earning 2 times their or twice their country's average minimum wage. All right, so if the average minimum wage was $12.50, and we hit the target of 2 times that, there's your $25 an hour. Now, the $25 an hour was a cap. The $25 an hour was a cap. All right, so even if you were in Australia, which I think might be, the numbers I saw said something like 16 bucks an hour. I don't know if that's the case or not. That wasn't going to be, if you were in Australia, you were going to make $32 an hour. Your cap would have been 25 bucks an hour. And there were also other factors like obviously the profits coming from the particular advertisers. Now, what we have found out over the past few weeks is that a lot of the advertising that we are seeing on the website, all right, and there's a lot of advertising, there's a lot of banner ads, and obviously when you click on to watch a video, many of those videos have some type of ad preceding it, some type of commercial preceding it. Yet, most of these advertisements are coming from third-party sources. And so what this post even goes into, let me see if I can find it real quickly. I may have taken that part out. Bear with me. Okay, I may have taken that part out. That might have been my post from this morning, so bear with me. All right, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can find the post that we did this morning. Again, just it's not as cluttered. Bear with me. By the way, while I'm looking for this is a big deal. All right, this is a huge deal. One, because there we go. Let's see if this is it. Let's see if this is it. Bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. That's not it either. Darn. I didn't mean to take that out. Ah, it's here. Okay. All right. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for your patience. All right. All right. I want to skip down here. This is what I wanted to show. All right. So what they wrote here, and they may not be corporate, but I think corporate is at least disseminating some information to some folks in the field. All right. And by the way, I am not a corporate insider or what have you. So I get this information like you get this information. I may have gotten a few emails that maybe some folks didn't get. But in terms of THWleadership.com, everybody, no matter if you just join, can go there. And what I just simply do is, as I go there, I just want to disseminate that information to our audience in a slightly different format, a lot of times with video, and just kind of declutter it just a little bit, okay? All right, so this is what they said. In the beginning, we need to understand how the advertising system works. Currently, advertisers buy advertising from outside THW Global. For example, let's say $50 or $100. So let me tell you kind of how this works. So you have a number of different banner ad networks. Google obviously leads the charge, and there's a few other ones out there. And so let's say, for instance, you've got your banner. All right, so here's a banner right here. That's a banner ad. Let's see if there's another one down here. All right, here's another one down here. Okay, these are banner ads. All right, so what happens is the advertiser is going to pay for 1,000 impressions. So every time this page refreshes, we might have another banner. So let's go on. Let's say, for instance, I watch a video. Whoops. That may not be up right now. Let's see. Obviously, we have seen over the past few days, as we're getting closer, the site comes down sometimes. Sometimes things aren't quite working, what have you. Let's see if... All right, so it looks like that's not found right now. But when this refreshed for just a moment, you can see, all right, so here's a banner ad. Okay, so what advertisers do is they pay to have the banner showing up on some site. Now, they don't go and say, hey, I want to put my banner ad on THW Global, or I want to put my banner ad on CNBC.com or ESPN.com or what have you. All right, they simply submit their banner to one of these banner ad networks, like Google has their own, and there's several of them out there. And then those ad networks will then serve ads on sites that have banners. So what may happen is you might go over to, again, like let's say CNBC.com, and you're going to see banners there, all right? And you may see some of the same banners there that you see at THW Global. Okay, now, because THW Global, for the most part so far, have gone through these third parties, the majority of the revenue generated by the advertising is actually going to that other network. So let's say Google is getting most of that. THW Global is getting a very small part of that, okay? All right, now the whole idea is for THW Global to have its own in-house advertising, and they probably have some. We saw, this was probably about 2 months ago, where they said they had over 100 different advertisers ready to advertise, and that sounds good, but the reality is we've got 1.2 million folks that have registered. We've got going on 600,000 folks that have taken their surveys now. So even if they had 100 advertisers ready to spend so much per week, per month, so on and so forth, that's not going to fully support the numbers. Now, I believe that the numbers have probably grown faster than what they originally intended. So everything that we heard, you know, that first 2 weeks, you know, up to $25 an hour, 50,000 folks in your particular area, so on and so forth. You know, what always happens when you're launching something is you'll have something on paper, everything looks good on paper, and then when you start getting into the real world, you have to tinker a little bit. You've got to make some adjustments. Sometimes those adjustments are good for the field. Sometimes those adjustments, you know, the field resists. We're all human beings, and one of the things of human beings, even if things are good, we just resist change, even if change happens to be good. Now, in this case, change is phenomenal because for so long we thought the only countries that were going to be able to view for pay were going to be those countries that had 50,000 folks that had not only registered, but had also completed their survey. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. It appears that any country that's having ads served, and according to THW leadership, there are 200 countries being represented. The last I saw and heard, 70 or so countries were having ads served. Now, I could be wrong on this, so if I'm wrong on this, don't hold it to my account, because I'm sharing what I know, what I understand based on the information that I've been given. Now, obviously, my biggest critique of THWGlobal is I still want to hear someone from THWGlobal, from corporate, come out and do a webinar, come out and do a conference call. Hopefully, we'll have something like that happening real soon. All right, so I believe that if you're in a country that's serving ads, that you're going to be able to start earning, whereas before you were going to have to wait to build up. And I remember a few weeks ago, you know, I was concerned about my Canadians. I was concerned about my Australians because we didn't have big numbers yet in Canada. We didn't have big numbers yet in Australia. We didn't have big numbers yet in a number of countries where I knew we had a decent size following. So that's a big win. That's a big win, assuming that I'm correct on that, all right? And I'm sharing with you what I believe to be true, William, based on the information that I have, all right? If I'm not right on that, please do not hold that to my charge. Thomasina, again, I'm just sharing information as I understand it. All right, so that's a real big win. Now, the fact that everybody's going to be on the same pay schedule is a monstrous win. A monstrous win. Now, here is why, okay? Now, I don't know if this dilutes things a little bit for those countries that have a higher minimum wage. So I don't know if this means that my Australians and my folks in the U.S. might make up front a little less than they would have made before. I don't know. I don't know. That could happen. However, if you understand what THWGlobal is looking to accomplish, and if you have bought into our teaching and our training about the 10-hour pledge and taking a portion of your viewing income and reinvesting that back into your business, and looking at this as, hey, what if YouTube had done this when it launched back in February of 2005? What if there was a reward system, and every time we watched the video, every time we shared the video and someone watched the video that we shared, every time we went to the search engine, and YouTube now is the #2 search engine behind Google. Google owns YouTube. What if they had some type of rewards program where we got compensated to do the things that we do right now? Watching the videos, shopping online, that'll be coming down the line, I'm sure, using the search engine, what have you, okay? And if YouTube had done that back in 2005, and had we had the vision to participate in that, YouTube, nobody ever would have guessed that it would be the juggernaut that it is, especially if you look at the very first video ever posted. We've shown this time and time and time again, 18-second video. Nobody would have ever guessed that it would become a $100 billion brand, and it's worth anywhere from $77 billion to $104 billion is what they believe YouTube is worth, owned again by Google. All right, so I need us to have a longer-term view. I doubt that anybody out of the gate in any country, and now we know that everybody's going to be basically paid the same in terms of their viewing, but I doubt that anybody would have come close to the up to $25 to start because of what we just mentioned. Most of the advertising is coming from third-party advertisers. So we've got to mature this, and we'll have to have some patience. Now, I know that may suck if you've done all of your promotion based on job seekers, all right, earn up to $25 an hour, you know, and maybe posting in different forums or different sites that is appealing more to someone who is looking for a wage or job or what have you. So I get that, all right. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is part of being an entrepreneur. Things modify, things change. Sometimes they change for the good. Sometimes they change for the not so good. Sometimes the change is just a change and we don't like change. Okay? All right. So I get that. I get that. However, if you were here for the long term anyway, then this is a huge development. And let me tell you one of the reasons why. All right. Remember, as we went through the compensation plan very early on, we talked about the $25, earn up to $25 an hour. That was a cap. It didn't mean that everybody was going to make $25 an hour. And at the time, we knew if you were in the Philippines, you were going to make a lot less per hour than someone in the U.S. If you were in Malaysia, if you were in the Dominican Republic, if you were in Dominica, you were going to make a lot less than someone in Australia or in the UK or what have you. That no longer is going to be the case. But here was the other thing. The other thing was the up to $5 per hour as an override. So let's say that you referred Juanita here, okay? All right, so now, if you were in the US, if you were in Australia, if you were in the UK and you were viewing, you were getting a higher wage, or I'm sorry, not wage, a higher payout per hour. But if Juanita was in, let's say, Juanita is in Suriname, I hope that's how you say that country, all right? And Juanita's amount that she was making when she was viewing was far less than $25 an hour, all right, okay? Then your per hour override of Juanita's viewing was going to be proportionate to what she was earning as the viewer. So let me say that again. All right. Previously, your per hour override of anyone that you personally enrolled was going to be proportionate to what they earned from their personal viewing. So if you referred someone that lived in the U.S., you referred someone that lived in Australia, you referred someone that lived in the U.K., where those wages are higher, and they viewed, well, great, you got a more of an override as they viewed. However, if you referred folks, or you have a team that's growing in other parts of the world. I looked at our organization and I remember when, I think it was my 4th level or my 5th level, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden it just like blew up, all right? And I go in and I'm starting to look and I'm looking at the names, and these were not English names. These were not people, I'm assuming they probably weren't from the US, they probably weren't from the UK, they probably weren't from Australia. They appeared, from what I could understand, to be maybe Asian names or Indian names or what have you. Okay, so here, all of a sudden, I've got hundreds, then eventually thousands of folks with names that didn't appear to be English names. Now, that's great. As those folks would be viewing, let's say if they were in countries that had a lower wage, then my override from them viewing, even when we get to the dollar, you know, there was you could earn up to $25 from your personal viewing, up to $5 from your personal enrollees viewing, and then up to $1 for anyone that happens to be in your 10 levels. All right. Well, if someone was in my organization, your organization, and they weren't getting the higher payout, then your override would have proportionately been lower. Well, now that everybody is going to be on the same pay schedule, this now is going to even out the overrides. And so for those of us that are engaged right now in building the network, And even if you are saying, I want to build a network, I don't know how to build a network, I'm new at all this kind of stuff, or I've tried and I've never done it before, you know, and you were waiting, okay, a 10-hour pledge, I'm going to take a portion of my income and I'm going to invest that back into the tools and the resources and the traffic and all that other good stuff. And that's how I'm going to ultimately build a long-term sustainable business. Obviously, that's what we've been teaching since day one as we've been promoting THW Global. Okay, what this is going to mean is that ultimately you're going to build an organization of hundreds of thousands, of tens of thousands, perhaps even hundreds of thousands or even more. But now, instead of, gosh, I've got a large team in South Korea, I'm not making that much in terms of overrides because they're not making that much as they view, well, that no longer is going to be the case. So this is going to even out your overrides. Now, might you experience a lower payout rate in some of those other countries that had a higher minimum wage? You might. All right. That may very well be the case. We don't know. But when you understand how this allows you to generate more in override income, far more in override income, because it's even out the playing field. The other thing that happens here is let's take a country where the average minimum wage is low, and all of a sudden a person that is viewing in that area as a percentage of the average minimum wage, all of a sudden that's a decent wage even earlier in the process. Now what that could mean is, where it would have taken a little bit longer for that country to start to have a lot of viewers or what have you, now all of a sudden, if somebody is in Malaysia, somebody's in the Dominican Republic, and you know, they're making because it's kind of leveled out, they're making a decent wage, maybe even competing with what they would normally make if they had, you know, an outside the home job, that could really explode that particular country. And again, as you build a network, it may have nothing to do with you. It may be somebody on your 4th, 5th, 6th level that comes in from a particular country and really takes that thing by storm. I mean, when we were looking here at THW leadership, give me a moment. Let's just make sure they haven't added anything. They were saying they were going to add some additional information. They're saying check back. Give me a moment. Looks like we've got something different here. Are working hard is not when you have 50,000. We'll come back and take a look at this right here. I don't think this was here before. Okay. One of the things that they've been doing here is they've been highlighting some global leaders, and so I'll just go through this a little bit so you can get a sense. All right. So here's somebody from Russia. They've got 190,000 folks in their 10 levels. Here is a South Korean leader that has over 90,000 in their 10 levels. Australia, 40,000 in their 10 levels. All right, another South Korean here, 50,000 in his 10 levels. Vietnam, she's got 30,000 in her 10 levels. Okay, so what this evening out of the payout all across the board is going to make it simpler. It's going to make it simpler to explain. We no longer going to have to explain, you know, well, what does up to mean? All right. We still have the up to, but we don't have to go, well, you know, if you were in the U.S., this is what people were making as an after-tax income versus if you're in the Philippines, this is what you're making as an after-tax income, and that has a bearing on what you're going to make in your country. We don't have to do that anymore. Now, I will say in RAS, our reverse advertising system, that is some of the messaging. We're not going to change that right now because I don't know what other changes we're going to see over the next few weeks or what have you. When somebody comes to RAS, they join you, we'll make sure that they understand how it works now. Okay? All right. So that's huge. That's huge. Another thing that's huge here is I neglected to bring it up, but we've talked about it before. YouTube now, with 2016 numbers, YouTube now has over 80% of all of the YouTube video views come outside of the US. It took YouTube 2.5 years before they launched outside of the US, all right? But now 80% of their views are happening outside of the US. Now, why is that important? Because you are going to build, particularly if you follow what we teach, even if you're not good at building right now, you're going to build a large international business. All right? You're going to build a large international business. So in time, you're going to have a lot more people that are outside of your country of residence, outside of the US, let's say, that's going to be in your organization than those who are just in the US. And so since you're going to be overriding their viewing income as they view, you want to be able to get those higher overrides, because the people that are viewing in South Korea are making the same thing as the people that are viewing in Vietnam, and making the same thing as the people viewing in India and the US, so on and so forth. Okay, so I know we've seen some changes with THW Global. We haven't understood them all at times. Some of us have even been frustrated with lack of verbal communication. I think they've done a great job of sending out the emails, and now with THW leadership, that gives us more information to go on as well. Notwithstanding all of that, and of course I've expressed my frustration on that being a communicator, this is huge. And I want you to understand just how huge this is. If you get just how huge this is, in your questions box, put in H for huge. You got it. Man, this is big stuff. This is big stuff. Yeah, this is huge. Huge. Even if you haven't built a team yet, even if you don't, this is huge, because again, where you will be a year from now will be so far removed than where you are from right now, especially the huge keep coming in. Okay. Somebody said they missed it. I guess I'll tell you what, this is being recorded, so you want to hear that again, okay? Because that's a really big deal. All right. So what this means is that all of the folks around the globe are going to make the same for their viewing. All right. It may dilute. It may mean that some of the areas that would have gotten a higher per view amount because of where they were, those that might be lower. It may not be lower. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. And the reality is we would never know now, right? Because everybody's going to get paid the same. So we won't know if, hey, if they hadn't done this, would I have made more for my personal viewing? But when you understand looking at this as a long-term business, this is huge, because that means as you build and scale your organization, everybody's making the same amount, which is going to even out your overrides on everyone's viewing, which means you're going to ultimately make a lot more money than you would have made without them leveling that out, making that that pay rate the same for everyone. Okay. All right. So now let's go back. Let's go back. Let's talk about the $10 power bonus. We've been hearing about this for a couple of weeks. We've got a little more information now. And again, not because we're any corporate insider or anything like that. It's because we've gotten some emails, and of course, THWleadership.com has shared this. This is all on THWleadership.com, but here's THWleadership.com again, and you know, it gets a little cluttered. You know, there's a lot of stuff. So where do you get started? So so that you don't lose your way, we just decided to send out a post, make it a little bit cleaner. All right, let's talk about the $10 power bonus and why it's so important. All right, so we know that the first 6 months or so, the payment for viewing is going to be lower in month 1 than it will be in month 2. Month 2 is going to be lower than month 3. All right, and so it's going to take some time to scale things up so that we've got a lot of advertisers spending a lot of money. And please understand that what the company has done up to this point, I think is fantastic. Even the 10 hours of viewing for people to qualify. And as a free IV, the weekly viewing minimum to qualify for revenue of 5 hours a week. What does that do? What it does is it means that, one, we've got more people going to the site, but people are staying on the site. It's referred to as a stick rate. When you go to Alexa, for instance, or you go to Worth of Web, one of the things that advertisers are going to want to see is, are people going to the site, number one? So how many people are daily visiting the site? How long are they on the site? Because the longer people are on the site, then the more, as an advertiser, the more they're going to see their banners, or if they have a commercial like that precedes a video, the more they're going to have their offer viewed in form of that particular ad. So what that does, I mean, right now there's 500,000 folks that have completed their demographic survey. Will all 500,000 view 5 hours minimum a week? No. All right. But if we do the 80-20, well, basically 20% of the folks do 80% of the work, and 80% of the work gets done by 20% of the folks. So if you said, let's say starting off, we had 100,000 folks that were doing a minimum of 5 hours. All right. Well, now all of a sudden, there's 500,000 hours of video watching a week. Now, that pales obviously in comparison to YouTube, where there's, what, 4 billion videos, or I don't know how many hours are watched per week with YouTube, but YouTube has 11 years on us. What other video platform will be able to boast something like that? Certainly no video platform out of the gate. No video platform out of the gate. Now all of a sudden, as now people are getting paid, even though it may not be a lot, the fact is they're getting paid, and that's going to excite a lot of folks, and now they're going to continue to view, they're going to build an organization, so on and so forth. And so what this is going to allow the company to do is now attract more advertisers, all right, so that in month 2, month 3, there's going to be more in-house advertisers than there are right now. And ultimately, the amount of third-party advertisers that we have starts to fade away, and the number of in-house advertisers grows and grows and grows. And then THWGlobal is, instead of making maybe $5, and I need to cover that part. I do need to hit this part. Give me a moment. Okay, I do need to hit this part. Okay, so let me read this and then I'll make my point. So in the beginning, you need to understand how the advertising system works. Currently, advertisers buy advertising from outside THWGlobal. For example, let's say $50 or $100. That's where I was saying they might go to Google or some other banner ad network. Okay, now Google or the other ad networks pay THWGlobal $5 to $10 to fulfill those advertising orders. So someone pays Google to, hey, I want to have, here's $100. I want my ad viewed. All right. Google in turn, let's say, takes in the $50, takes in the $100, and pays THWGlobal $5 to $10 for those advertising orders. All right. So, as it goes on to say, for every 1,000 ads, THWGlobal will be paid 4 to 6 weeks later about $5 for that particular ad. Now, obviously, a company could have a $10,000 ad budget as opposed to a $100 ad budget, which is probably more likely to be the case, and you just do a proportional share of that. But the point is, because of the third-party advertisers, THWGlobal brings in less revenue with third-party advertisers, and they have to wait 4 to 6 weeks before they are paid. Now, all of a sudden, this is starting to make sense. Oh, okay. So one of the reasons that we've been viewing up to this point is that now because it was going to take them 4 to 6 weeks. They didn't make a lot of money during that time. So that helps to bring a little money into the company's coffers. But the company certainly hasn't gotten rich. I'm sure they have spent out a whole lot more money in bandwidth than what they've generated in terms of any type of advertising revenue. And chances are, it's only been a few weeks, maybe mid-July, I believe, is when we started seeing, maybe the end of July, when we started seeing the first ads starting to show. So if it takes them 4 to 6 weeks before they get paid, they may not have even gotten paid yet. Okay. All right. So now this is starting to make a lot of sense. All right. Now, ultimately, those who've gotten certified or will be getting certified, if you haven't already done so, those of you who have gotten certified, we're going to be able as certified folks to be able to bring advertisers to the party. Don't know what that's going to look like just yet. I'm hoping that obviously people will be able to bring maybe local advertisers, maybe, what have you, and maybe even do some advertising of your own. If you're promoting a nutritional product, maybe you've got a banner ad and you buy some advertising or what have you. Okay, that's not mandatory, obviously, but that might be something that you consider doing. I'm certainly going to take a look at that when we're able to do that. We'll see what those advertising rates are, and we'll do some test campaigns and see how that works and what have you. Okay, now let's go with that understanding. Let's go and see the power leg bonus. We started hearing about this, I want to say maybe 3 weeks or so ago. We didn't have a lot of information about it. All we heard was, we heard $10. We heard 50 cents being paid throughout your 10-level organization. So we can do the math on that. If you've got 10 levels at 50 cents a level, that's $5. So I knew that from the $10, $5 was going to go to the field somehow. But now we got more information today. Give me a moment. I feel a cough coming. Excuse me. All right. Okay, so this is what they said. This came from THW leadership. Again, we just cleaned it up a little bit. For the first 6 months, the $10 power bonus is very important, especially since $9 of the $10 collected will be going to all the team builders and the viewers. First of all, it's affordable to everyone, everywhere, at least 98% of the world. Now, we did not stand on the rooftops. We did not stand on the mountaintops and tell folks, hey, go get certified. All right. We explained certification. We explained we were not going to hype it up and overly promote it. You big boys and big girls, if you see the benefits, you want to go on and get certified, go on and get certified. Okay. And the reason that is because it was $500 and $39.95 a month. And we hadn't heard from THWGlobal. So I just didn't feel comfortable telling people, hey, go on and outlay $500, when up to that point, the entire discussion had been about, hey, it's free. And do it for free, you do your viewing, you make your money. And all of our compensation conversations was centered around everything being free. So we never did any compensation conversation around a $500 outlay and coded bonuses and all that other stuff. Okay, so we felt like, even though we came out of the gate saying, hey, we don't know if this thing is gold or not. We don't know if is it crap or is it gold. And we probably had that message for about 2 months. And then once we started seeing the advertising, we said, hey, guys, I don't think this thing is crap. I think there's something to this. All right. So we kind of moved away from the is it crap, is it gold? But at the same time, $500, that wasn't something we were going to stand on the rooftop and scream. I'm standing on the rooftop. I'm standing on the mountaintop with my big megaphone saying, everybody do this $10 thing. All right. Why? It's $10. You always, in business, always weigh the potential reward versus the potential risk. And when the potential reward is great, don't be afraid to take the limited risk. Well, for some folks, $500, especially if you're in certain parts of the world, $500 US, that's huge. $10, most of us, most people in the world, $10 US can do that without it being a sacrifice to your family. Okay. All right. So here's how this is going to work. $5 of the $10 is going to get paid to the Team Builders Power Bonus System. All right. Now, we know, if you've been around for any length of time, that the company's been building a power leg. From the very first person to join, everybody that's joined since then has fallen under them. And when you joined, everybody that has joined THW Global, has registered for THW Global since you joined, whenever that was, is in your power leg. Okay? Now, you're not making any money from that power leg yet. And the reality is we're not going to make any money from that power leg until the dual team is released. There's going to, they're not going to release the dual team based on their information until we've got 3 million folks that have registered. We're at 1.2, almost 1.3 million right now. And I don't know if that means 1.3 million registered or 3 million that have actually completed their survey, because that would be different. All right. We're probably getting closer to 50% of the folks that have registered have completed their surveys. Okay. So in any event, but what the power leg does is it generates a lot of buzz. All right, it generates a lot of excitement. Now, it's marketing. Okay, I want you to understand that it's marketing, but in marketing, you want to generate some buzz. You want to generate some excitement. All right, so I want to show you something. Give me just a moment. Let me see if we can log in now. I had to do, I had to redo a video for our RAS system based on the new sign-up procedure. So I did that today, and I set up a new test account to show people how to sign up. Good. All right. So this was as of this was as of about 1, maybe 2 p.m. This afternoon, U.S. East Coast time. I'm going to go here under Referral Center, Dual Team. This is crazy. Wow. So since about 1 o'clock this afternoon, when I set up this particular test account, all right, hopefully you can see, let me blow it up a little bit. You see where it says right here, left, 6,436. So 6,436 folks have joined THW Global somewhere in the world after I set up this particular position. What? It's been 7.5 hours, almost 8 hours ago. Okay? That will generate electricity. All right? Hey, I just joined. I already have 6,436 folks in my power leg. Now, will the person that you said that to understand exactly what the power leg is? No, they don't have to. That's buzz. That's excitement. Okay, it's the same thing that you have lead up to a big movie, lead up to a big game, lead up to a big match, maybe like a tennis match or a boxing match or what have you. You got to have a little bit of the marketing hype machine. Okay, so now, what does this mean in reality as it relates to your earnings? All right, so what happens is, anyone that's in your 10-level organization, whether you personally enrolled them or not, they're in your power leg because they came into the system after you did. All right. So if you have 232 people in your 10-level organization, your power leg might be several tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands. But as it relates to your 10-level organization, you've got 232 people that are in your power leg that are also in your 10-level organization. Okay, so what's going to happen is 50 cents per level is what could be paid out times 10 levels, $5 of the $10. All right, and then $4. It looks like that $4 might be going into some type of pool to help with payouts of folks that are doing their viewing. That makes perfect sense to me. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And they even say this will help with the transition of THWGlobal building a very successful in-house advertising system with all of the certified IVs and direct corporate sales. So what this is saying to me is this $10 power bonus system is a way to help bridge the gap so that people generate some money from their viewing along, in addition to what they would normally be generate. But we know that what they're going to generate in terms of viewing is lower now than it will be 3 months from now, lower now than it will be 6 months from now, lower now than it will be 9 months from now. In the meantime, here is a way for people to go on and start generating revenue quicker, okay? And so those of you that have been already building your teams, and you have hundreds, or you've got thousands, or you've got tens of thousands, then out of the gate, this could mean hundreds or thousands of dollars a month for you, maybe even tens of thousands a month for you from the $10. Now, what we want to do is we want to encourage everyone that now joins us going forward when this is available. And I think I saw it's going to be somewhere sometime in October, 1st of October. When this is available, we want everybody that is looking to build a business, looking to make money, to do this. So I will be on the rooftops, on the mountaintops, saying, let's do this. This will get more people making money. Plus, remember, $4 of the $10 goes to support those that are viewing. So even if someone is not building a team just yet, or maybe they don't have a desire to, or more likely they just don't know how to build a team just yet, and they're going to learn, and they're going to have some tools and time and all that other good stuff. We want to do our part to help the company help us. And so when I do my $10 a month, I know that $4 of my $10 is helping to probably go into some type of pool that's going to wind up helping increase the value of tokens that people are earning for their viewing. So everybody, let's be a part of this, okay? This one I feel comfortable saying because it's only $10 a month. All right, so let's make sure so we've got that. All right, and we sent this out, by the way. So if we sent this out via email, we sent it out via push notification as well. So you should have already gotten this. If you didn't, we will probably send it out again. We may have some new information. I'm gonna go and check that out in just a moment. Okay. All right. So let's go and check out this new information and see what they are saying. Let's refresh the screen, just make sure. Okay. THWGlobal programmers are working hard. It's not when you have 15,000 more people on the system at any given moment. I think they meant to say here, let me read this. I think they meant to say it's not easy when you have 15,000 or more people on the system at any given moment to fix and adjust things. That makes sense. THWGlobal is committed to you, the IV, to do their best. 9/21 starts paying for viewing at 12:01 a.m. Okay, so that's I'm going to assume that maybe they're doing that based on U.S. East Coast time. I don't know. Okay. All right, so that's going to be in just a few short hours. All right, if it's 12 a.m., 12:01 a.m., that's going to be in a few short hours. This after you have the 10 initial hours of no pay registered. Oh, let me put this on my whiteboard. Show the cumulative hours. Okay, I'm going to show you. They've added a timer so that you can see your cumulative hours. Okay. By the way, there is no deadline for the 10 initial hours of no pay to be completed. I'm going to explain that in case you have not been paying as much attention over the past few weeks. Take your time to reach initial 10 hours. So many IVs as please extend the time to do the 10 hours, but there is no deadline. Okay, real quickly. All right, so if you have not paid attention for maybe the last 2 or 3 weeks, a few weeks ago, they said that one of the requirements for anyone to earn, if they are a free IV, if they've not purchased the certification is to $495, $39.95 a month. Very soon that's going to go up to $9.95, okay? And that's the one that we did not stand on the rooftop saying, hey, do it, do it, do it, okay? All right, so for anyone going forward that has not purchased the certification, they are going to have 10 hours of initial viewing. They're not going to earn any money during that 10-hour time frame. I like what Queen likes to say. She refers to it as training, okay? In a nutshell, it costs them a lot of money to run this site, okay? And with people watching the videos, all that bandwidth, that costs a lot of money. The security behind it, I don't even, it's got to be huge. I had a system years and years and years ago, and we had some DDoS attacks. I don't know what DDoS stands for. I just know my site wasn't working, and my computer guy said, oh man, we're having some attacks. And okay, well, how do we stop these attacks? How do I get my site back up? Oh, it's going to cost you this amount up front and this amount per month to keep it secure and what have you. And we didn't have any traffic, nothing compared to THWGlobal. So I saw something the other day that says that it's costing them over $15,000 a day just to run the site, and probably it might even be more than that, okay? All right, so one of the things that most companies do in network marketing is they have some type of package. You know, you join the healthy coffee company, you join the weight loss company, you join the nutritional company, and Marlene, you then buy some package of some sort. And typically the company is either going to charge for a website fee, or the company may, a lot of companies do this now, they charge for you to be an affiliate, and that's all designed to help offset some of the costs, like web costs and paying out affiliates or what have you. Or some companies just price that into their model, meaning when you buy the $199 package, the $399 package for your weight loss products or what have you, they've priced in cost associated with the website, okay? Well, obviously, up to this point, other than a few thousand folks, nobody's paid any money. Of course, those certified IVs, there's a few thousand of those that have done that, all right? But nobody had paid any money. And yet, you have this video platform that, you know, thousands of people are on the site at any given time watching videos, all right? And all you've got to do is look at some of these videos and look at some of the new videos and see how many views they're getting in a very short period of time. Far different than 3 weeks ago. Far different than 3 weeks ago, where you might have a new video and only a few people will watch it. Well, now these videos are getting viewed. Okay, so now, what they did, they wanted to be able to have a free system. That obviously attracts a lot more people, but attracting a lot more people viewing costs more money. So one of the things they did is they said, okay, we're going to initiate a 10-hour rule that says before you start earning, you have to complete 10 hours of viewing. Now, that means they're going to generate some money from that 10-hour viewing because of the ads, and that's going to help offset the cost of the website. Because what's different about THWGlobal than your weight loss company or your healthy coffee company or what have you is your healthy coffee company isn't having nearly the bandwidth because people are watching, you know, all the videos. All right, tons of bandwidth with THWGlobal means tons of expenses. I am cool with that. That makes sense. So 10 hours. Now, that 10 hours, there is no time frame on which someone has to do the 10 hours. They just have to do it. So obviously we want folks to do it sooner rather than later. And if people follow what we teach, they should have it done within a week's time because we're teaching 10 hours a week. We're teaching the 10-hour pledge. Also, if you've been away, haven't paid as much attention the last couple weeks, last 3 weeks, another one of the prerequisites. So you got 10 hours of what Queen likes to call training. They call it initiation. Okay, you have from now until eternity to do your 10 hours. You're just not going to make any money viewing until you've gotten that in and out of the way. So get that in and out of the way. Okay. If you are a free IV, meaning you've not done the certification, all right, you will have a minimum requirement of 5 hours a week after your 10-hour initiation, after your 10 hours of training, a minimum of 5 hours a week in order to earn from your personal viewing. I personally love this. Why do I love this? Because I'm a business builder, all right? And when all of a sudden you've got thousands, then tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands that are viewing a minimum of 5 hours a week, what is that going to do for your override? It's going to be massive, okay? When we were talking and having the conversation about viewing previously, before this was instituted, we would show numbers of, let's say, somebody who had an organization of 10,000 folks. And if you just average an hour, per week, what that could mean. Well, now, not that all 10,000 are going to view. Some of them are never going to come back to THWGlobal. Some of them, they sign up for free. They treat it like it's free. They don't treat it like it's $1 million plus potential business, what have you. But for those folks that remain, we know if they want to earn, they're doing at least 5 hours a week. And that's going to increase the overall average viewership, which means that the network, everybody's going to make more money. So I love this. Now, if you do become certified, that's the $495, but you got to do it like you gotta lock that in before 12 o'clock. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that real quickly. All right, for those of you who wanted to do that, I'm not pressing you to do it. I'm not pressing you to do it. Okay, $495 and $39.95 a month to be certified. That is the before soft launch ends pricing. After that, it's going to be $9.95 and $39.95 a month. If you didn't have the money, or if you weren't comfortable with it, don't sweat it. All right, because if she's gold, and it certainly looks like she is, if she's gold, you're going to make the money to be able to come back and reinvest back into your business in the forms of tools. I would consider this a resource, and the traffic to build your business. So don't obsess about it, okay? So since we're here, let me just show you real quickly. If you wanted to be certified, they extended the time for you to make the payment, but you've got to lock it in before the clock strikes 12. Let me show you real quickly what you're going to do. Bear with me. I hope I can show you what we're going to do. Hopefully the site's working. Peachy King, bear with me. Okay, so come inside of your back office, go to income opportunity, go to certified IV opportunities. Again, I'm not pushing anyone to do this. If this is something that you want to do, you've got the money, it's not going to hurt you. If you're at least bit hesitant, then don't do it, okay? If you're at least bit hesitant, just wait, all right? You scroll down under certified opportunities, you scroll down to where it says get certified now. All right, it's going to pull in your information based on your ID number, and you just verify your name, your email address, your phone number. All right, what are you purchasing? I'm getting the certification course and first month continuing education. It's going to tell you how much it is. It's going to tell, then you need to tell them where you're going to send the money. All right, let's say if I said in the U.S., anticipated mailing date. Now, what was happening is there were people, particularly international, that wanted to do the certification, but they weren't in a country where we have offices. and or to FedEx or to send the money was going to cost so much coming from a country disassociated with the country that where they want to send the money. And so they realized that was the problem. They said, okay, we're going to set up some payment systems, but you do need to go on and lock in your payment. You need to let them know you're locking this in. So let's say we're going to send this on, what is this, September 20th, 2016. Then put a note. I'm just going to put, I am doing a test for a webinar. All right, but you're going to put it in an actual note. I wasn't able to mail it off. I want to lock in my spot and make my payment as soon as the payment processors are available. Okay, then you click next. All right, and it's going to confirm this information, and then you commit. Then you click submit form. And when you do that, it's then going to give you this this payment form, but it's going to log that into their system so they know that you intend on making the payment. That's why I put in that note there, because I think my note even shows up somewhere. All right. So yeah, note from Ivy, I'm doing a test for a webinar. Okay, so real quickly, you went to your back office. You went in under IV opportunities, went to certified IV, and then you went to the bottom where it said get started now, and you put that information in. Okay? All right. By the way, all this information is dummy information if you didn't know, so no need to email me here because that's not a real email address, and that's certainly not a real phone number. Okay. I need to show you one other thing, and then we'll get into some Q&A. I need to show you your cumulative hours, so bear with me.